Welcome everybody to the class. We are going to be doing time and economist articles in this class. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Joel. I got my BSc, my Bachelor of Science, from McGill University in Montreal, and subsequently I did my MBA at Queen's University. Then I did a number of years in finance. I worked for a lot of large companies. Michael mentioned CIBC, the bank, and I've worked for other large companies. So I worked in industry for a number of years, and then I retired and decided that I would go on to my main passion, which was teaching. So I've been teaching for the number of years, and I enjoy this course. This is on Economist and Time Magazine. So it's a shorter class today. We have an hour, less than an hour now. So let's try to quickly go through what we're going to be talking about. Let me just share some of this. So this is the Economist magazine. Right here you see sample Economist magazines. It has business articles. Here you have one with Joe Biden, one that has Wall Street, one with China-American strategy. This is the kind of articles that Economist has. And then we'll go on to the next one, which is Time magazine. And here's Time magazine. You probably recognize the first one, this COVID cover. And then this is Amanda Gorman, who spoke at the presidential inauguration and sang. And then this was the inauguration of Joe Biden. So these are examples of Time magazines. So what I do for this class is I choose articles from both the Time magazine and from Economist magazine. And what I like to do is the structure of the class is I show you some of the homework questions. In this case, it's a trial class, so you won't have homework, but I'm going to show you the homework questions anyways. And I also have vocabulary. I show you 5 vocabulary words. Then we go on and we read the article. What I do is I ask students to read a paragraph. So I'll choose a student, or ask, in this case, I'll ask for a volunteer for this class to read a paragraph. So you read the paragraph, and then there'll be some words that I will help you to what the meaning is. I might ask you what the meaning is. It may be one of the vocabulary words that I showed you at the beginning, in which case you just have to repeat what it means. I will explain the article, explain the concepts in the paragraph, and at any time, if you have a question, put your hand up, either like this or using Zoom, and we'll go through it. Again, this is intended to be fun. Don't feel pressure. If I ask you what a word means, if you don't know, just say, I don't know, then that's fine, and I will explain it. Okay? All right, so let's, what I'll do is first show you the homework. This would be, if this was not a trial class, I'd actually do the homework. For now, it's just a trial class, so you won't have homework to do. But if there was homework, this is what the homework would be. The class is called The Final Frontier, The Finite Frontier. And it's from The Economist, July 17th. And here's what the 5 homework questions would be for this article. So again, you won't know the answers yet until we do the article. But number 1, what are examples of forecasts for revenue from the space economy by 2040, 2030 compared to today? Number 2, a line you may not have heard of, but you'll know after this article. What is the Kármán line? Number 3, what is the long-term goal for Jeff Bezos and Blue Origin? Okay, let's move down. Number 4, what is one of the biggest uncertainties regarding space travel, and what is the historical reasons for this uncertainty? And number 5 is the opinion question. The first 4 questions are always right from the article. Number 5 is where I ask for your opinion. Do you think space travel will be common for average citizens in the next 30 years? Why or why not? So after you read this article, you'll form an opinion, I'm sure, in terms of whether you think space travel will be common. Okay, so next I'm going to show you some of the vocabulary words. I'm going to show you 5 vocabulary words. These are words that will appear in the article and will appear in the paragraphs that you guys read. So I will share them with you right now. Article is called The Finite Frontier. Number 1, Humbling. Humbling means causing someone to understand that they are not as important or special as they thought. Sometimes a billionaire, as you'll read about these billionaires in the articles, they think they're pretty good, but something might be a humbling experience. They may do something that's a humbling experience. For example, going out in space and seeing how small the earth is in the whole scheme of things. That could be a humbling experience. Number 2, gloat. Gloat is when you dwell on one's own success or another's misfortune. Somebody who gloats thinks, oh, they're pretty good. They dwell on their own success. 3, a tycoon. Tycoon is a wealthy, powerful person in business or industry. We're going to read about some tycoons like Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson. They are wealthy, powerful persons known as tycoons. Number 4, hypersonic. Hypersonic is relating to speeds of more than 5 times the speed of sound. Pretty fast. So that is hypersonic speed. And number 5, humdrum. When something is humdrum, it's lacking exciting or variety. It's dull. It's monotonous. That's humdrum. Okay, so have a look at those words. Humbling, gloat, tycoon, hypersonic, and humdrum. These will be in the article that we are about to read. Okay. All right, so now we're going to take out the article. And what I'll do in this class is I'll ask for volunteers to read. I'm going to take out the article right now. And I'm going to ask for a volunteer for the first paragraph. Let me just introduce it a little bit first. So it's called The Frontier, Finite Frontier. It's about space tourism. So traveling out into space. You guys may have heard about some of the recent voyages that some of the billionaires have taken into space. And this is what we're going to be discussing. The private business of vaulting passengers into space officially gets off the ground. Now what? So it's the idea of going into space. Will this become common in the future? Okay, so do I have a volunteer? If you could put your hand up if you would like to read the first paragraph. Do we have a volunteer? Or should I choose someone? Okay, I'll choose. I don't see any hands up. So how about Bill? Bill, would you like to read the first paragraph?
Okay. It will be humbling. It will be spiritual. This is how Warren Galactic wooed customers with the prospect of a moment in space in 2004. Within 5 years, they claimed it would take a total of more than 3,000 passengers on life-changing jaunts in its spaceships. On July 11th, the space tourism firm began to make good on that promise. Its VSS Unity rocket plane was released from a sport aircraft, accelerated to 3 times the speed of sound, and soared 85 kilometers above Earth's surface. Thence, for 4 minutes, its 6 temporarily weightless passengers, including the firm's British co-founder, Sir Richard Branson, beheld the planet's curvature against the blackness of outer space before returning to a spaceport in New Mexico.
Okay, thanks for reading the first paragraph. Now let's discuss some of the words in here. I'll ask you what some of the words mean. The first one was one of the vocabulary words that we showed. It will be humbling. Do you remember what humbling is?
To understand that you're not as important or as good as you thought.
That's right. So that's what a humbling experience is. When you go up into the space and you look at Earth below, it's a real humbling experience. You realize how small each person is in the whole scheme of things. The Earth is so big, and you look at it from a distance. It's like a humbling experience. He says it would also be spiritual. We're talking about Virgin Galactic. This is the company that Sir Richard Branson owns. And what he did is he wooed customers. He tried to influence customers way back in 2004. He said, I'm going to be going out in space. and one day you will join me in space. He says within 5 years, he would have 3,000 passengers on life-changing jaunt. A jaunt is when you make a trip into space. You go for a jaunt. Usually we talk about a jaunt as kind of a walk, but here he's talking about a jaunt into space.
It's like a short trip.
A short trip, right? So sometimes you go out for a jaunt, right? You go out for a walk, you say it's a jaunt. That's a kind of a slang term for a walk. Well, here he's talking about a jaunt into space, kind of a short trip into space. Some of the experts, some of these billionaires have gone for short jaunts, 15 to 20 minutes into space. Okay, so what happened is this USS Unity rocket released from a support aircraft accelerated to 3 times the speed of sound. So that's pretty fast, 85 kilometers above the Earth. And we use the word thence here. Thence is a word we don't use so much. It just means as a result. It's not a common word used right now, but we use it sometimes. 4 minutes, 6 passengers, temporarily weightless, and Sir Richard Branson looked at the curvature against the blackness of outer space. So that you can see the curvature of space. You can see the curvature of Earth. When we sit on the Earth looks flat. But when you go up there, you see the curvature of space. And that is what he calls a humbling experience. It's just amazing to be out there. Okay, thanks, Bill. Let's go to the next person. How about Perry? Can you read the next paragraph? I'll highlight the paragraph for you, Perry. Go ahead. Are you there, Perry? You're muted. No. Okay, let's try Nicole's son. How about you read the next paragraph,
Okay.
Nicole?
It is not known if Sir Richard, not famous for humility, felt any out there. He called the experience magical and worldly. He may have gloated a bit, having piped Jeff Bezos, a much wealthier billionaire, to the heavens. On July 20th, Amazon recently retires boss plans to go slightly higher for slightly less time. In the new Shepard, a vertical launch vehicle built by his own spacefaring company, Blue Origin.
Yeah. So Sir Richard, that's Sir Richard Branson, is not familiar with humility. So humility comes with this word humbling. You know, you feel humility, it's a humbling experience. So he's a very wealthy billionaire. And, you know, did he feel any humility up there? Well, he says the experience was magical. You can imagine a magical experience. And he may have gloated a bit. What does that mean when you gloat, Nicole?
Maybe.
It was one of the vocabulary words we showed at the beginning. Do you remember? Gloat?
Oh, I didn't remember.
That's okay. I will explain it. So gloat is when you dwell on one's own success or another's misfortune. So in this case, he's dwelling on his success. He's been very successful, been able to bring an aircraft, a spacecraft way up into the sky. So he gloated, partly because he pipped, in other words, he beat out Jeff Bezos, who's a much wealthier billionaire. What's a billionaire, Nicole?
Maybe people who have like lots of money.
That's right. He's a billionaire. He's got billions of dollars. That's right. So Jeff Bezos is a billionaire, and so is Sir Richard Branson, and they're both in the space race. They both want to bring spacecrafts out into space. And Sir Richard Branson is gloating. He feels happy because he beat a much wealthier billionaire into space. On July 20th, Amazon's boss, that's Jeff Bezos, was planning to go even higher, and he did go out later on July 20th. This article was written in early July, mid-July, and Richard Branson was quite happy because he beat Jeff Bezos into space. the company that Bezos has is going to be Blue Origin. He was planning a vertical launch flight. So vertical being going straight up. Okay, thanks, Nicole. Okay, so let's see, is everybody there? Okay, I see Perry, note from Perry. No, I couldn't hear you, Perry. So we'll try you again shortly, see if you can fix the computer, and we'll go on. All right, so let's see who else we have there. How about Kevin? Kevin, can you read the next paragraph, please? Kevin, can you unmute? Are you there, Kevin? No. Don't hear Kevin. Okay, let's see who else is here. How about Shannon? Let me get the article out and see if Shannon can do it. Shannon, are you there?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great. Here's next paragraph for you. Let me highlight it a little bit here. Okay, go ahead, Shannon.
The Tycoons are among a growing group of enthusiasts who think space tourism's time has come. A few paying customers have flown in government-issued Russian spacecraft. Vigrun, Galactic, and Blue Origin, by contrast, built their own vessels for the purpose of lobbying passengers beyond the upper reaches of Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, so Shannon, the Tycoons, that was one of the vocabulary words. Do you remember what Tycoon is? Do you remember, Shannon? I didn't hear you. No?
Like what weather?
That's okay, I'll tell you. So a tycoon is a wealthy, powerful person in business or industry. So these two people, like Jeff Bezos, is a wealthy tycoon. Sir Richard Branson, a wealthy tycoon. They're like billionaires and they've been very successful in business. That's what you call a tycoon. So they're among a growing group of enthusiasts. So enthusiasts, that means somebody who has a lot of enthusiasm. What does it mean if you have a lot of enthusiasm, Shannon? So if you're if you have a lot of enthusiasm, it means you're happy, you're exuberant, you like to do something. So these people are enthusiasts about space travel. They think space tourism is going to be the future. They're space enthusiasts. So there has been paying customers and government issued Russian spacecrafts, but Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin, these are the companies owned by these two people. Virgin Galactic is Sir Richard Branson and Blue Origin is the Amazon boss, Jeff Bezos. They built their own vehicles and they want to lob passengers. Usually when we use the word lob, you lob a ball. You know, if you throw a ball gently into the air, that's called lobbing. But here they're using it in a fancy way, lobbing passengers beyond the upper reaches of the Earth's atmosphere. That's what lobbing is. That's how they're using lobbing. Okay, thank you, Shannon. All right, so let's see who else we have here. I got to look at the faces. Who else do we have? Okay, how about Wendy? Wendy, let me get the article back out as I look at the faces so I can see it. All right, Wendy, you there, Wendy? Can you read the next paragraph?
Maybe could I just listen? I don't want to read it.
You don't want to read? No?
Yes, maybe can I just listen?
You want me to skip you and go to someone else? Or do you want me to make it bigger? Can you see it?
Yeah. No, I just want to listen.
You want to listen? Okay, that's okay. You're welcome to listen. Okay. How about Shengzi? Did I pronounce that right, Shengzi? Can you read the next paragraph, Shengzi? I can't hear you. Are you muted? No, I see your lips moving, but I don't hear you. I guess your microphone's not working. Okay, we'll have to go on to someone else. All right, let's see who else we have here. How about Emma? Emma, can you unmute? Are you there, Emma? Are you there, Emma? I don't hear Emma. No, we seem to have some issues here. No, I don't hear Emma. Who else do we have? Who else do we have? Let's see. Is there somebody on iPhone? Who else? We did Nicole. Who else do I see? So Perry, let's try you again, Perry. Can you unmute and say hello? No, Perry? How about Kevin? Kevin, can you unmute? No, Kevin. Okay, we may have to go back to people that have already read because I can't. All right, how about Bill? We'll give you another turn, Bill.
Okay. Okay.
All right, let me get the article out. Okay, Bill, go ahead.
So from which paragraph?
Yeah, right here, suborbital.
Oh, suborbital tourism is part of a broader private space business that has boomed of late, thanks to advances in rocketry and satellite technology in 2020. Investors poured $28 billion into such ventures, hoping to emulate SpaceX, which has slashed the cost of orbital launches thanks to its reusable rockets and its value at $74 billion. Bank analysts at Morgan Stanley expect the entire space economy to generate $1 trillion in revenue by 2040 from $350 billion today. Those at UBS forecast $800 billion by 2030.
Yeah, so suborbital tourism, that means being a tourist. Usually we think of tourists, we mean, we think we're traveling maybe to Europe, to Mexico, somewhere else. That's what we usually think of as tourism, touring. But here, suborbital tourism, that means touring, going up into space. That's what these people want to do. They're hoping to get you and me out there into space to travel. Right now, it's only for the people that have lots of money, the billionaires. But in the future, they're hoping to get the average person out there into space. This is private space business. So,
but that will use a lot of money, from trillion to billion, from billion maybe to $1 trillion.
It would cost a lot of money. You're right. It's going to cost a lot of money, and that's what it says here. But it costs a lot of money, but they're hoping to make a lot of money. Right now, they're getting the billionaires to go out there and paying, as you're going to see later in the article, they're paying a lot of money. These people that want to go into space just for the honor of going out there. It generates a lot of money. So look here, they're looking right now, it's $350 billion is the revenue it generates. It's hoping to generate $800 billion in 2030 and $1 trillion in 2040. So they're thinking that this business is going to grow a lot, but it's going to take time. So they're hoping to emulate SpaceX. Do you know what emulate means?
To like give money to support SpaceX.
Well, emulate means kind of when you want to copy them. You know, they're looking to, they poured 28 billion into such ventures, into 28 billion. They're spending money to be able to copy SpaceX.
I think that's kind of a support because SpaceX sometimes cannot make it much, but I think this is not copy, but I think this is also a little bit of support.
Yeah, it is support. You're right. It's to emulate means to copy and to support. You're right. It's a little bit of both. When you emulate someone, emulate something, they want to emulate SpaceX. All right, good. Thank you for that. All right, so let's
Can you hear me
go.
now?
Oh, who's that?
Can you hear me now?
Who's talking?
Shenxi.
Shengxi. Oh, okay. All right, Shengxi, you got your microphone working. So let's have you do the next paragraph. Let me get it out. All right, so Shengxi will read the next paragraph, and the title is Like a Virgin for the First Time. It's Virgin Galactic. That's the name of his company. So he's trying to go out there for the first time. So go ahead.
Space tourism, UBS thinks they will make a big contribution to that total if it helps replace mass long-haul aviation with hypersonic travel. That is unlikely. For now, Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic will offer brief suborbital flight. Sir Richard floated slightly below the Kármán line, usually defined as 100 kilometers above Earth's surface, where air becomes too thin for unpowered flight. Mr. Bezos plans to float a bit above it.
Okay. So space tourism is what we're talking about. They're looking for a big contribution here. What the hope is that it will replace mass long-haul aviation. So long-haul aviation means when you take a trip, you go across, if we go across from Canada, go to Australia, it takes almost a whole day to do it. They're hoping to replace it with hypersonic travel. Do you remember what hypersonic is?
5 times faster than sound.
Yeah. So imagine going at 5 times the speed of sound. That's what they're doing going up in the air right now at that hypersonic speed. The hope is in the future we'll be able to go take hypersonic trips, maybe to go from Canada to China in a very short time instead of taking whatever it takes, maybe 12 hours now to go on a flight or longer. So if you go 5 times the speed of sound, it'll go a lot quicker, of course. So that's what their vision is in the long term, to be able to use this technology with suborbital flight and really go really fast. So Sir Richard Branson, he went below the Kármán line. So here's the definition of the Kármán line. It's 100 kilometers above the Earth's surface, where air becomes too thin for unpowered flight. So that's what the Kármán line, it's 100 kilometers over the Earth's surface, and that's just where air becomes thin. Right now, below that, you have an atmosphere. We breathe. Right now on Earth, we can breathe because there's an atmosphere. But as you get closer and closer to that Kármán line, the atmosphere becomes thinner and thinner, and you need a spacesuit. You can't breathe there. So that's where he wants to go. That's Sir Richard Branson vision, to go just below that Kármán line. Okay, thank you. Let's clear that. All right. Okay, so who hasn't had a chance yet? Perry, is your let's try you again. Perry, sound working, Perry?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now. Okay, Perry. All right, let's get it out, and you can do the next one. All right, so let me highlight it and go ahead. Suborbital.
Suborbital. What's that?
Excursions.
What?
Excursions. So when you take a trip, it's an excursion. Suborbital excursions.
Oh, excursions are not Blue Origin's main goal. The company is developing a large rocket. The new going for launching. Sorry.
We're launching satellites.
Satellites. Satellites is selling advanced rocket engines to others and is bidding for NASA contracts. In the long run, Mr. Bezos' aim is to foster a large-scale, space-based economy rather than amuse thrill seekers. What's that?
Amuse thrill seekers. So people who want a thrill, who want excitement, that's a thrill seeker. But he wants to build this to have a big space-based economy. He wants everybody to be in space. Right now, it's just for people that want a thrill to go out into space. But his vision is that everybody's going to go out in space. Lots of people are going to go into space, and it's going to be a big industry.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
But Blue Origin's bigger rockets could someday take customers can go to go into orbit for fun. SpaceX, through not driven by the tourist market, is beginning to make
All right, I'll move it up.
some
Last
money
line.
from it as a sideline.
Yeah. Do you know what a sideline is?
Sideline?
Yeah. Have you heard that word before?
I'm not pretty sure. Is it?
I'll explain it. A sideline is, let's say you have a main thing you do, you have a main job, and then you do something extra. That would be a sideline. So it's like a second business. It would be a sideline, something you do on the side, a sideline. Okay, so let's look at here. So an excursion, like we said, suborbital excursion, that's a little trip, but that's not the main goal. He wants to be able to launch satellites. You know what a satellite is, right?
Yeah.
Can you describe a satellite for me?
I know something, but I can't just explain it.
That's okay. I'll explain it. Satellite is something that goes around the Earth, something that goes around, travels around the Earth. So we have satellites that we can use to get our signals for television, right? It's all up. It's we launch a satellite into the air and we use it. So that's we're looking to. This company is launching rockets and having satellites that orbit around the Earth. And this is one of the things that they want to do. So as we said, he doesn't want to just amuse thrill seekers. He doesn't want to just make it exciting for the billionaires. He wants this industry to grow and ultimately take lots of people out into space. Okay, thanks, Perry. All right, so who do we have next? I gotta look at all the faces here and see who hasn't. Do we have anyone that hasn't read yet that has their sound? Emma, is your sound working? Emma, you there? I don't hear you, Emma. Is your sound working? No, I see you're unmuted, but I don't hear you. Okay, who else hasn't spoken yet? Kevin, any luck with the sound yet, Kevin? No? Okay, so let's go back to some people that have read. Again, if your sound is working and you didn't get a chance yet, let me know. In the meantime, how about Nicole?
Hello.
Over here, Nicole.
Yes. As for suborbital drones, nearly 7,600 people bid to join Mr. Bezos on the winner party was $28 million. Virgin Galactic says its waiting list has several hundred hopeful, including, according to Sir Richard Elon Musk, SpaceX boss, Cohen, an investment bank, found 2 in 5 people with a net worth of over $5 million would consider paying $250,000. Virgin's current price for a ticket, if as consultants as Capgemini reckon 2 million Earthlings have that much dosh. That is a decent market. It could be a lucrative one. Once regular flights begin to offset rocket development costs, Kamas Falihapitia, a venture capitalist and Virgin Galactic chairman, expects operating profits margins close to 70% at scale, similar to software firms.
Okay, so suborbital jaunts, we talked about that. You're taking a trip to just below where the Earth's atmosphere is. Amazingly, Virgin Galactic, they have a waiting list. People actually waiting. These rich people, they have lots of money and they have a waiting list. They want to go on some of these flights. Well, you need to be rich right now to go on some of these flights. It costs $250,000. Some people would consider paying that money just to go on for a ticket. But if you have that much dosh is a slang word for money. It could be a lucrative market, could be profitable. Lucrative means it could be profitable. First, they have to offset rocket development costs. So it costs a lot of money to make these rockets, right? So in order to make money in this, first they have to make enough money to pay back all the development costs for the rocket. And then they could see in long term making a lot of money, 70% at scale, profit margin. So they'd make 70% profit once they're at scale. Once the business grows enough to be the right scale, they can make a lot of money on this. That's the vision that they have. Okay, thank you. Nicole, let's go on. How about Shannon for the next paragraph?
Still, don't expect space tourism to be a big part of the space business or of the tourist industry. In the next decade or two, Morgan Stanley recently cut Virgin Galactic's project annual revenues by 2030 from $1.8 billion to $1.3 billion without tourist-friendly destinations to visit. The capacity of the ISS is limited. Orbital tourism, with its far higher ticket prices, will not be a huger earner. A few space tourism startups, such as Rocket Plane, Armadillo, Aerospace, and X-Core Aerospace, have thrown in the towel. This year, the popular space-themed exchange trade fund run by ARK Invest, a tech investment firm, dumped most of its shares in Virgin Galactic, which went public in 2019. Both Sir Richard and Mr. P have sold much of their stakes in the firm in the past few months. His shares price soared after the successful flight, then tumbled when it said it would issue new stock of fund expansion.
Okay, so they don't expect space tourism to be a big part of the space business. Right now, space tourism is the main thing that space business is doing, but they're looking for other things. So right now, there's no tourist-friendly destinations. When you think of tourist-friendly destinations, well, if I was going to go to Australia, I could go to the Outback, or if I was going to go to Hawaii, it's very tourist-friendly. Out there in space, not many tourist-friendly destinations, is there? Other than the ISS, which is the International Space Station, but there's not a lot of capacity there. There's not a lot to do out there. But it's got high ticket prices. So they don't expect it to make a lot of money from just space tourism. And some companies have thrown in the towel. Do you know what the expression means, thrown in the towel?
I'm not really sure.
So it's an expression when you say throw in the towel, when two teams are competing and one says, okay, you guys win, we concede, we lost. It means you're thrown in the towel. It means you concede defeat. It means, okay, you win. So thrown in the towel means they've given up. So some of these companies have tried to get into space tourism, but it's just too expensive for them. It's only the big companies like SpaceX and Virgin Galactic that can succeed in it. But some, there's more concern about whether they will be successful. Some have dumped their shares of Virgin Galactic. They think it's going to be too expensive. All right. So let's continue on. Let's see who else we have here. All right, so let's go with next paragraph here. Who do we have that hasn't, is there anyone that hasn't spoken yet? Emma, Kevin. All right, let's go with the people who have, let's go back with Bill.
Okay. So from
Here, I'll highlight it. It's the biggest uncertainty.
the biggest uncertainty relates to safety. A disaster can set progress back by years. NASA suspended its program to send untrained civilians into orbit in 1986 after a school teacher died along with the rest of the crew in the Challenger tragedy. It took 15 years for another civilian to brave the journey on a Russian craft.
Yeah, that was a very sad back in 1986 when the Challenger went up there and there was a school teacher. She was expected to send information down into her school, and unfortunately the Challenger got destroyed. Very sad event. So that's the uncertainty in space, that there's safety concerns all the time. All right, let's go with the next paragraph. Thank you, Bill. Who's next? Shengzi? Shengzi, starting with the risk. Are you there, Shengzi? Oh, Shannon? Okay, Shannon, you want to volunteer?
The risk is lower for suborbital missions, which place fewer demands on life support systems and come fitted with the abort technology. America's Congress instituted a learning period for commercial spaceflight in 2004, leaving medical and safety standards up to private firms so long as they warn clients about the risks, which are considerable, while barreling at match 3 or more strapped to a pile of high explosives. VSS Unity's sister craft perished in an accident in 2014.
Okay, so that's the idea, is the risk is lower because it's suborbital missions. The risk is lower than it was for this Challenger. Okay, there's going to be a learning period, but there's always going to be risk when you go Mach 3, which is a high speed. You're going at a high speed and you're strapped to these explosives. There's still going to be some risk. Okay, let me read the last paragraph, and then I'm going to show you a quick short video. Even with no accidents, regulatory problems may arise when the learning period expires in 2023. Add more humdrum annoyances. So remember humdrum. Humdrum was one of the vocabulary words. It just means, lacking excitement, such as launch delays, common, and space tourism may remain a hobby for a few space-rich daredevils with lots of time to spare. Okay. So one of the things I just want to show you is just a short video. Usually we show a few minutes of video, but it's a short class, so I'm just going to show you about 30 seconds of Sir Richard Branson in space and show you the excitement that he felt when he was in space. Okay, let's share the screen and move the volume up a little bit so make sure you can hear it. Okay, here's the excitement when he was in space.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream, looking up to the stars. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship with lots of other wonderful adults looking down to a beautiful, beautiful Earth. To the next generation of dreamers, if we can do this, just imagine what you can do. Wow. Oh my God.
You can see how excited he is. That's Sir Richard Branson, who we read about in the article. There he was in space. Pretty exciting. Okay, so as we reach the end of this class, I just want to get a little bit of feedback, and I want to know, maybe Nicole, can you tell me one thing that you liked or one thing that you learned from this article?
Like there's many people trying to make discoveries in outside space and try to make it convenient for all the people on Earth. For many people they can't afford to travel around the Earth, but if the spacecraft if the billionaires they did very succeed in it, and they can help the people to travel.
Yeah, so right now the billionaires, they're the ones that are going out there and and trying to have their own fun going to space, but ultimately it might be for people like us. Nicole, do you think you might want to go into space someday?
Maybe.
Maybe, okay. Well, you're braver than me. It's not something I want to do. I'm happy to let other people do it. Okay, thanks, Nicole. Let's have one more person. How about Bill? Can you tell me one thing that you liked or one thing that you learned from this?
Oh, okay.
One thing you liked or one thing you learned?
Well, I think I liked maybe the currency part, because I think because that anytime maybe because there was too much $1 billion just put for space traveling, and which is I'm really interested is why are they so excited in the space station only if they are floating?
Yeah. Well, you saw the enthusiasm from Sir Richard Branson from that video. How exciting it is for him to be up there. It's not for everyone. It's not for me. I'm not interested in going into space.
But as a result, if you go into space, you may die because maybe some explosives, maybe some space garbage, it will maybe space pieces will maybe come and break your windows.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
That is really dangerous. I mean, not go to something that dangerous.
You're right. There's risk. There's risk in everything we do. We read about the Challenger disaster in 1986, but they're trying to make it safer and safer. And the hope is for these companies that they're going to be able to bring lots of people out into space, that for your children and grandchildren, it'll be like getting into an airplane and going to Europe from here. So that's the vision, that someday this will be for everybody. Okay. So I hope you guys like the article. This is a sample of what we're going to be doing in this class. Hope many of you will join the class. I thank you for your feedback and thanks for the good reading. Okay, Michael, did you have any comments you wanted to make? No, Michael, not there? Okay. Did anyone else want to tell me their opinion about something else that they liked about the article? Shangzi?
That there's people who are willing to pay like a lot for just to get in space.
Yeah, it's amazing how people are willing to pay a lot. Some people are just very fascinated by it. I don't know if you guys know William Shatner. He was the guy who played in Star Trek many years ago in the 1960s and 1970s. And he's 90 years old. He got the opportunity to go in space. And when he came back, he found it was just so exciting. He says it was the most amazing experience, the best experience of his life. So for some people, this is going to be just so exciting to be able to go out into space, to go high up and see the Earth from way up top, to see how small the Earth really is in the whole scheme of things. It's just so fascinating. He said it was like the Earth is so beautiful and the sky up there, when you go way above, it's so dark and it's night and it's like death up there, but you look at the Earth and it's so beautiful. So for him, it was a very, very exciting experience. Okay, well, thanks for the thumbs up, Nicole. Anyone else have any comments?